Today marks the 79th anniversary of D-Day, the day that thousands of brave Allied soldiers launched the largest military air, land and sea operation on the beaches of Normandy to liberate Europe from Nazi Germany in World War II.
Our correspondent Richard Gaisford is live in Versailles in France for us, where he's joined by two veterans who both fought for freedom on the front lines of Normandy.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ed, Suzanne. One of the big privileges for me over the last few decades of doing this job has been coming here on a fairly regular basis, meeting with these veterans. Take a look at the pictures we filmed yesterday, and you can see them out and about at various locations, at ceremonies and at monuments, where it has to be said, sadly, numbers have been dwindling, but the support that they get is as strong as ever. It was just so lovely to see the school children clapping them here at the British Normandy Memorial yesterday. And I am delighted to tell you that I'm joined by Stan and Ken, two Normandy veterans. And Stan, you were a D-Day veteran because you were off the coast, weren't you, in HMS Fratton on the morning of D-Day. What were you seeing?
Well, on the morning of D-Day, we were approaching the coast of France. We were part of a convoy, and we were acting as escorts, and until our other duties were was needed.
And what were you seeing in front of you?
Well, on the morning of the 6th, I was off the coast of off the south coast at Southsea. And when I did come up on deck for the first time that day, I was so overawed with surprising to see the amount of shipping. Ships of all sizes, from battleships to cruisers to destroyers and it was an amazing sight for a lad of my age.
You were 19. What kind of feeling did it give you to see this rolling out in front of you?
Well, a feeling that we weren't going to lose this war with the amount of firepower that was going to be approaching the coast of France. No, a feeling of confidence in the duties and the things that was going to be what we had to look forward to.
Well, Ken, not long after you arrived on the beaches here, didn't you? And very quickly found yourself in trouble behind enemy lines.
Well, we went out on night patrol, making for Hill 112, and we got cut off. We were supposed to be doing a job in no man's land. The information was wrong. It was behind Jerry lines. They let us through, sealed it off. And 16 of our 30 got back. 5 of us got captured, as I understand it, and 9 got killed.
And you'll remember them today, and you've written a poem, I know, about your memories and the events that you were involved in. You'll read that here today at the British Memorial.
Yes.
Well, that would be quite an emotional moment, won't it?
Yes. Well, I mean, it was yesterday. I was asked to do the exhortation. I've done it umpteen times. But yesterday, with all the atmosphere, with the people having spoken with you, children coming up to ask questions and so on, I nearly didn't finish it at Colville, Montgomery, because I nearly choked up. It's a very emotional atmosphere. This whole place, wonderful job they've done. To record the lads.
And Stan, I know that you want this memory to live on, you know, for the education to continue.
The education of children is very important. Very important that the young, and I don't mean the gruesome bits, but the education bits too, showing them that what the veterans and the forces of the Allied forces were met with, and the building of this big memorial with the number of
22,500 names.
22,500 names, and names from as young as 18. There are the occasional one of I think I know of one of 16. But middle-aged parents.
And I know that having lived through this horrendous experience, both of you, you now watch what's happening in the east of Europe. You're worried about it, aren't you?
We're concerned about it. we're concerned. I'm very concerned about it.
My great-grandchildren.
Yes, right.
You know, we've got grandchildren and great-grandchildren. What sort of a world are they coming into?
You fought so hard to rid Europe of evil.
Yes.
The human race is mad.
Yes. And when you consider that these countries, they are signatories of the United Nations about the war and this area, but they just ignore it. Well, especially Russia as well. Russia is
Dispose of one dictator, Hitler, Stalin, and then up pops Putin, and they be put down. Who's next? They can't.
Well, listen, it's an honour to meet you both this morning. We'd all like to thank you so much for your service. We're delighted to see you here today, and we know you're going to be here next year for the 80th, aren't you?
Yes, we will.
Well,
God willing.
we've got our fingers crossed.
You're determined, I can see it.
Yes.
Amazing gentlemen, and they have a very long day ahead, I have to tell you. Lots for them to do and a lot of people who want to see them.
Honestly, Rich, thank you. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. I mean, 98-year-old Stan, 97-year-old Ken, with a lot of work ahead of them, but so passionate. And the fact that, as they say, they fought for the liberation of Europe from the Nazis, and to see their fears now with what is happening in Ukraine. I mean, everyone worried about the Russian invasion of Ukraine, but for two men who were there on the Normandy beaches, you know what, and they saw the sacrifice of their fellow soldiers. For them, you know, when it comes from their mouths, phrase, absolutely feel it, don't you?
What a generation they were to show that courage and that bravery. We took our children to the Normandy beaches. Actually, the thing I remember in particular was the American Memorial at Omaha Beach, where people thousands of miles away from their home and their families were giving their lives in that fight. And you just feel their palpable pain that today in Ukraine, another generation of 20-year-olds are being expected to be as brave as they were, because it's still with us, that threat of war and the need to show courage and repel the aggressor. I mean, it's really humbling, isn't it?
Yeah, totally humbling. The embodiment of courage. Ken and Stan, determined to be there next year for the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
We'll be there with them.
Yeah.